Hi, this is Joni, and I am covering Competency 2 for becoming an EC through 6 teacher in Texas. And Competency 2 is the teacher understands student diversity and knows how to plan learning experiences and design assessments that are responsive to differences among students and that promote all students' learning. And this is broken down into 7 pieces, and the piece that I've chosen to focus on is D. The beginning teacher knows strategies for enhancing one's own understanding of students' diverse backgrounds and needs. So first and foremost, we need to think about, what does the world look like through the eyes of a child that's in a wheelchair, who doesn't celebrate holidays, who has language barriers, who cares for their siblings, who is economically challenged. Basically, any child sitting in your classroom. So as a teacher stands in front of the classroom, he or she must know the students who sit in the desks. The teacher must be sensitive to areas of human/student diversity. These are areas of distinction for identifying various groups. Teachers should model genuine appreciation towards different cultures and social problems. And not only the cultures and social problems, but the needs of the student. This includes the students with special needs, the ones that are gifted and talented, the average student. It is every student sitting in those desks. So, important vocabulary that I have chosen for this competency is race, minority group, biases, discrimination, ethnocentric behavior, SES, which is socioeconomic status, salad bowl, melting pot, culture, cultural deprivation, pluralism, stereotyping, generalization, empowerment, differently abled, exceptionalities, ESL, ELL, LEP, which is English as a second language, English language learners, and limited English proficient, inclusion, and LRE, the least restrictive environment. So some of these terms are important to understand when creating a diverse classroom. And the first one is race. The association of skin color or other inherited physical characteristics with a person's identity. Many people prefer the term ethnicity. Minority group. A part of the total population that has different characteristics than most others and that often is treated differently than others. Biases. Unfair preferences or prejudices towards particular groups of people. And along with biases, I believe discrimination connects to that one. And discrimination is the use of negative responses or actions, or the absence those that are positive, that can deny success for certain groups of students, or in society, people. Ethnocentric behavior describes actions wherein people view their own cultural group characteristics as correct or superior, and the ways of other groups as odd or inferior. And the last term that needs to be understood when creating a diverse classroom, I feel, is SES, socioeconomic status. This is the term referring to one's economic or financial status, the lower class, the middle class, and the upper class, each of which have hidden rules for success. So we must keep all of these in mind when we're creating a diverse classroom. So now we have the salad bowl. And the salad bowl is a metaphor for many cultures blending together so that each one retains its original identity while simultaneously becoming part of something new. And the melting pot is a metaphor for many cultures blending together so that each one loses its original identity and becomes something new. So in the melting pot, everyone in a society, their beliefs become similar and they don't hold on to what they had in their old culture. They become a new culture. And in the salad bowl, The lettuce is still the lettuce, the tomatoes are still the tomatoes, and the carrots are still the carrots. And that's the way we want our classrooms to be. So we have to understand what culture is. Culture is a way of life. It's the habits, values, norms, and attitudes of a group of people. Cultural deprivation is assuming incorrectly that students have no culture and that is why they do poorly in school. This is false because all children have a culture, although it may be different and often less valued than the culture of the school. And pluralism, an aspect of society where many different cultural groups are valued and respected and share power. And we should have a pluralistic classroom. Every student should feel that their beliefs are valued in that classroom. So, stereotyping is the assumption that certain beliefs based on skin color or other forms of physical, religious, or other cultural identifiers are true of all people of that group. So this is saying that just because one person of a race or ethnicity is one thing, that all people of that race or ethnicity are that one thing. And generalization breaks stereotyping down to nothing because we should have flexible conclusions about characteristics of a group with the understanding that not everyone in that group shares those characteristics. And empowerment is one's personal belief that the factors that make up his or her identity, including language, culture, and other factors, are vital contributions to society. So we want to empower our students to know that what they bring to the classroom is very, very important to the society of the classroom. So what other factors should we take into consideration in our classrooms? Differently abled students. This is a term used to describe exceptional students or students with special needs who accomplish tasks in ways that are different from most of the other students. And exceptionalities are the attributes that make a child different from most others. In schools, this normally refers to children with special needs or those labeled as differently abled and who receive special education benefits. But this group includes your gifted and talented students, your special needs students, your English as a second language students, your ESL students, your English language learners, your ELLs, and the limited English proficient, LEPs, which is an older term for English as a second language. So when we take the differently abled, the exceptionalities, the cultures, and everything into consideration in our classroom, how do we make our lessons include those students? Well, it's called inclusion, an approach in which children with exceptionalities are placed in educational settings with children without exceptionalities, the regular classroom, and receive services alongside of them. We should include every student in our classroom, every culture, every need, every different ability of every student in our classrooms. And we should do this in the least restrictive environment, the LRE. Children who are differently abled are required by law to be placed in regular classrooms to the greatest extent possible. So this means that they get to come into the regular classrooms and spend as much time as they can with their other needs throughout their educational day and work right alongside the student that is the average student. So with all of these things in mind, you may be thinking, how do I become a teacher who provides equal opportunities for my students? Well, for me, I'm going to do it by self-challenging my personal beliefs and keeping an open mind when I'm looking out at the students sitting in the desks in front of me. By doing this, it will allow me to recognize how special each student is. And it is with open-mindedness that I have found 2 quotes that I thought would end this video on Competency 2. And the first one is, if we cannot end our differences, at least we can make the world safe for diversity. John F. Kennedy. And the last one is, the flower that blooms in diversity is the most rare and beautiful of them all. And this is from Mulan. And we're going to take everyday objects, this little plastic cup, and this paper, and we're going to mold them into something that is rare and beautiful. And this is what we can do with our students in a diverse classroom. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope I helped you understand diversity in the classroom a little bit better.